Probably want to see people hopping in. So we are live. And let me go to my page real quick and share it so it'll be on your page. And hopefully everybody comes in and hear what we got to say tonight because this is a very, 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 very uh, much needed, much
Yes,
needed
sir.
stuff. So, um, all right. All right. So it's shared now. So I tagged you in it. So it should be on your page as well.
Okay, I got it.
I'm finna go ahead and switch the microphones to the radio station. So you won't be able to hear me.
WBISLP 1069, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. I try to be a better man, but folks just don't understand. Trying to do all I can to deal with this addiction in me. Lord, I want to change. I can't stay the same with the sins that in my veins. It's trying its best just to kill me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the U-Turn States, the show here on Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. I am your host, Richard Taylor, here with a very special guest today, my childhood friend, Rico McDowell. A lot of people know him as a scanner guy. So
Me.
pleasure to have you. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good. How about you?
I am doing excellent, man. And before we get into the show, I do want to pause. Make sure you go to our website, www.wbisawesomeradio.org. Also, go to the website to download all of our apps on the Google App Store, the Apple App Store, the Google Play, and also Alexa. Feel free to call in on tonight's show. Very interesting show, man. We're going to get right to it, man. A lot of people know Mr. McDowell, Rico McDowell, from our hometown of Goldsboro, North Carolina. He is known as the scanner guy because, for a while he had posted a lot of information about, having the right to listen to police and what goes on around the town. So first tell the people, I know we were just talking about it. How did you first get interested in the technology of scanning and being aware of the communications of the police?
Say it for me one more time, brother. You broke up on me.
All right, okay. I'm sorry about that. So first of all, everybody saw your video, your most recent video, where your Fourth Amendment rights were violated by two members of the Goldsboro Police Department. Your vehicle was unlawfully searched. You hadn't done anything wrong, and if anybody hasn't seen that video, I ask you to go visit this guy's Facebook page, Rico McDowell, and see the violation of his rights. But before we get into that, because as you're known as the scanner guy, you've been listening and posting about information with the police for a while. What was the origin of you getting interested in scanning and listening to police operations over the phone?
In 1993, I was a sophomore in high school at Goldsboro High School, and one of our classmates brought a ham radio to the school one day. And when he brought it to class, it immediately sparked my interest because I could hear people talking, but they were not physically with us. So I'm trying to figure out how is he able to do this. This is the time frame of CB radio and what they call ham radio.
Okay.
From there, I started. It's going to be a funny story now. From there, we started listening to people telephone conversations back in the 90s, in the mid 90s. You know, everybody had a cordless phone.
Okay.
So on those scanners back in the day, we could, you know, some frequencies you can go to and scan through, and you can hear your neighbor's cordless phone conversation. So you can hear a couple of blocks away, and you can sit there and listen to phone conversations all night. And that's something that I used to do and enjoy. I had a ball doing that.
Could you target certain people? Like, could you type in their numbers and see, or you just picked up on whatever was going over in the air?
Picked up on the airwave, whatever was close to you, because back then, you know, cordless phones didn't have that far of a range. So generally, in the neighborhood, anybody in the neighborhood, if they were on that cordless phone, and I was listening to that frequency band that those cordless phones used, I could hear them.
Okay.
I could hear both ends of the conversation.
Okay, so that progressed into today's, you know, for you being, as I mentioned in my video I did about the situation, you've been informing the people of so much,
right?
You know, whether it's you know, violence in the community, whether it's police stops, whether it's warnings, weather, accidents. So you've been very valuable. I got to read this comment from one of your Army comrades on the first black spy. How about Tracy?
Right.
What up, Tracy? So, but basically, man, you know, so you've been active in the community. Now, do you think the incident, and we're going to get right into the incident because I know people can hear about this. Do you think the incident that happened was, you know, in some way tied to your definition? Because I heard you say that you tell the officer at the scene. I know a lot of people who know me. I'm the scanner guy. Do you think that had anything to do with, you know, them accosting you or not?
I'm not sure. And I say that because I was simply just heading to the subway to conduct some business while I was on another delivery. So, and like I said, that night I had my scanners with me, so I didn't hear them mention anything about my tags or anything that over the radio. So I had no reason to even think that they were coming, you know, to have any issue with me. I just so happened to turn around while I was in the subway, and I saw him outside of my vehicle, and I immediately said, something's wrong. You know, he's outside of my vehicle. Why? And that's when I started paying attention to him, and that's when I decided to go live. Okay,
so and just give the people a backstory. You were actually, this happened what, about 4 or 5 days ago, if that?
Yes, last Thursday evening.
Okay, so now I got tagged in the post, so I'm getting I got the information, you know, in mid swing. So what happened before you went into the store?
I was walking into the store. I saw the officer as he came up behind my vehicle because I was already out of my vehicle. And I thought he just spoke to me just to speak. So I spoke back and I continued on in the store. You know, everything was going fine. There was no issue. So I'm thinking, okay, when I turn around, just for some reason, I turned around, I looked out the window, I saw him around my vehicle. So I'm wondering to myself, okay, why would he be around my vehicle? I haven't done anything wrong. Something's not right here. So my instinct was to turn on my camera. And I don't know if you saw in the video, I told the lady in the video, I said, I'm not sure why they are here about me, but please keep an eye out for me because now I'm not feeling safe.
Yeah, and I mentioned that as well. You know, I saw that you tell them that, you know, I don't know if they're going to harm me. I don't know what's going on. But
right.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. Now, at what point do you realize that they're searching your vehicle, or do you realize that before you exit the store?
I did not know that there was actively, well, the K9 officer was actively searching my vehicle until I stepped out of the door.
So you left your doors open?
No, I left my doors unlocked. The doors were closed.
Okay.
But the van was unlocked.
The van was unlocked. And so by the time you get your delivery that you're coming to pick up, you walk outside the store and the police are searching your vehicle. No addressing you, the person. No addressing you saying, "Hey, sir, can we search your vehicle?" "Hey, sir, come here, let me talk to you." Because I think the premise was, and it's funny, I ran into Officer Caps today. I don't know if you saw my live, but I ran into Officer Caps today, stopping a young lady right there on that hill by Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and they've been doing this for years. I've been stopping on that same hill, right under the bridge. They hide down there, and I've been getting stopped on that bridge for 25 years. So I saw him, and he said, the premise was that, you came across the parking lot pretty fast, which I can understand because you're trying to make deliveries. So, you're trying to get in and get out quick as possible. But he said, I think the other officer name was Graham, who said that, you almost hit his car or something like that.
I never saw Officer Graham when I was going until I walked. When I was at the door at the subway, that's when I actually saw Officer Graham. I never saw him before that.
Okay. And so even if let's say his assertion is correct, that still doesn't warrant him walking the dog around your car. And we're going to actually get into that, as we talked about earlier, about the police and the drugs and the things that you hear.
Right.
But so now when you get out the car, you're asking them questions, and what's their response to you when you say, why are you searching my vehicle?
As soon as I asked him, Officer Caps informed me that the dog had hit for marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, I'm like, how? Because number one, I don't have marijuana with me. I'm doing a courier service.
Uh-huh.
So I became very angry in that very instant.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're accusing me of committing some crime that I'm not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that when I saw him, Officer Graham was actively searching the vehicle. Officer Caps never went in my vehicle that I'm aware of. I never saw him in the vehicle. He just had me stand away from the vehicle while Officer Graham did the illegal search.
So now, and in regards to the search, I hear him say during the video, "Okay, well, you have marijuana in your car, sir." And then he says, "Well, you have a little residue in your car," and you keep asking him where, what, but he never gives you any indication of what he saw. What is
he pointed to some grass that was on the floorboard beside the seat.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't vacuumed that van out in several months because I do delivery every day, 7 days a week. So I'm in and out of the van all day, every day. I'm in people's yards. I'm on dirt roads. I'm just literally everywhere. So I really haven't had the time. But he pointed out the grass clippings that were on the floorboard, and he stated that was marijuana paraphernalia. So
even if that was true, right? And you even asked him, "Okay, well, take me to jail then." If you're gonna go through all of that by searching my vehicle, why I'm not being arrested? And I think that's when the officer he got kind of smart and was like, "Okay, nah, you're free to go. I'm not gonna. You're free to go." So of course, once again, I know you are irate. I would probably be irate as well because having your personal belongings just being violated like that would have me in the same state. So how did you feel after he says, "Okay, well, nah, I didn't find nothing, so I'm gonna let you go"?
Well, when after I got both their names and badge number, Officer Graham seemed like he just wanted to dismiss me. I'm there on business. I'm not trespassed from the property. The store that I was at, they didn't call the police in reference to me. They never called the police at all. So just the fact that he tried to dismiss me angered me a little bit more so. But I don't know if you saw the video, me and Officer Caps began to have dialogue.
Yes.
And at a point I realized I need to calm down because my anger would probably create another situation outside of this one that could cause me some type of issue. I knew that they were in the wrong. I knew that the situation was being handled wrong. That K9 unit should not have been in my vehicle without my consent. If he had asked me for consent, I would have gladly gave it to him because I was not doing anything illegal.
And once again, I'm kind of hard on police officers, especially in that situation. But into Officer Cap's defense, hey Felicia, how you doing? Hi Doug, hi everybody, Passion, everybody who's listening, I appreciate y'all very much. But in defense of Officer Caps, I can, give him that credit that he did speak with you. He did remain calm, because that's another thing that goes hand in hand. And actually, me and a lady and me and you talked about this, police and mental health. And
Right.
Once again, you've been very transparent about, your mental health, issues as far as like the depression, PTSD from everything. And we're going to get into that. So, and you described your actions that night as a mental health breakdown or mental health meltdown, I think you said.
Meltdown, right.
Yeah. So what was the trigger? We talked about, people with mental health issues having triggers. What was the trigger?
That day was kind of rocky to start with.
Mm-hmm.
The trigger came when I walked out that door and I saw him actively inside of my vehicle. He was actually searching through the contents of a delivery that I had on Instacart. Not only did he violate my rights, he violated the rights of my customer by illegally searching through their contents. I had just picked that order up from the Big Lots on Berkeley Boulevard.
Yeah.
And that just immediately triggered me. I was fine up to that point throughout the day. Even though I had a rocky day, I was fine. But it was like a light switch, someone flipping a light switch when I saw that.
Yeah. And actually, Dr. Perkins just made a very important point. She said no reasonable suspicion or probable cause was ever communicated from the officer as to why the search was conducted. And that's true.
Correct. There was no odor of marijuana. There was no marijuana residue. So he had no reason to go in the vehicle.
And that's my question. I asked as well. Why he even ran the dog around your vehicle? But also, how do you know that the dog hit on marijuana? Because you're in the store, so you don't know. And of course, you're not trained in canine usage, so you don't know what the dog does. A flip? Does he do the hokey pokey or whatever his motions are to alert the officer? You don't know that, so they can pretty much tell you anything and then use that as a reason to violate your rights for which you did. But fortunately, they didn't, of course, find nothing, because I'm pretty sure that they just did that as an intimidation tactic. If he felt like that you had done something as far as like whatever, cutting them off or something. That's what once again Officer Caps tried to explain that. Okay, well,
right. And in that situation, when they didn't find the marijuana, they turned it to another where he said I was, I guess, illegally parked and to use a parking space, but yet there are no markings along that edge of that curve there that says no parking. You know how you go up to frontages of buildings that have the fire lane and it's clearly marked no parking?
Yeah.
But there's no markings there. So, and there's no traffic there that time of the night. So I didn't see a problem with pulling up right there to the edge of the curb and just simply walking in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was no problem with that. So now Officer Graham leaves, and now you're dialoguing with Officer Caps. And once again, I give him credit because he stayed calm and he talked to you. And he mentioned, and a lot of people don't know what you said in the video, but it's not really clear that you were armed as well, because you are licensed.
I was armed. I openly carry my firearm every time I'm out in the public. And immediately what started racing through my mind when I walked out of the door is I carry my firearm inside of my back brace on my chest. So I have easy access from either hand because I can fire it from either my left hand or my right hand.
So you mean so they can see the gun right there?
It's on my chest. Yes, right in the middle of my chest.
Okay.
And I didn't want them to perceive me as a threat.
Okay.
Being armed.
Yes.
Especially an armed black man.
I understand. Okay. And actually, and speaking on that, we have to touch on this. a little bit before our first break. We got about 3 minutes, but as soon as you mentioned I'm talking about you and Officer Caps were having a very pleasant conversation. You had calmed down. You had actually but as soon as you asked them, because you asked them, why did they search a car in the beginning, or and Officer Caps once again kept trying to justify his partner's actions, which of course we talked about that being a part of that blue brotherhood, or that blue line. You never cross that line, so no matter what the partner does, right or wrong, you want to stand behind them, which also has to be addressed. But as soon as you mention, you know what I think? Did you see the color of my skin? I think what happened when you mentioned the color of your skin?
Officer Caps wanted to end the conversation, but I wanted to continue the conversation because that's the hard conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah. And
my perception walking out of that door, I'm thinking in my mind, George Floyd. I'm thinking of all these people who have been killed by police, and I didn't want to be the next person.
Yeah, and once again, and because of the justification of it, every time that you are, someone is killed, the officer always says he fears for his life, and being that you are, you have a gun at your chest, they could have easily used that excuse and said, okay, no, we thought he was reaching.
Exactly. I kept my hands up. I don't know if you saw in the video, I put my hands up, and I even stated I am not a threat.
Yeah, you did say, but that's a shame that you even have to go through all that, because of course, if you might have been of a different skin color, you can walk around with a gun and never experience this. A real quick comment, Passion Graham said, yeah, this is the trauma that Black people have to face. Why does it make them uncomfortable to talk about when we are the ones that's dealing with it? And that is a great point, Ms. Grantham. We're going to get back into that, because I do want to make a statement on that on the other side of our break. But that's something that really teed me off when I saw him say, okay, well, this conversation is over. After y'all had been talking, for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and actually getting an understanding on why that situation happened like that. And once again, I have to give Officer Caps credit. He did show understanding. But I would
say that I had another
just one moment. Hold that thought, because we got to stop for a commercial, our station break, but we'll be right back. Please don't go nowhere. We're going to be right here with you.
Greetings in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is yours truly, Pastor Nell Smith Ward, and I am excited, and I would love to invite you to my album release party. That's right, Saturday, April 30th. What time? 3 p.m. Location, State Street Community Church, downtown Raleigh. The address is 1200 South State Street,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, yeah, I just switched over real quick. But yeah, we got about, let me see, 50 seconds before the radio station show starts back. But yeah, make sure you hold that point though, because I that's why I don't like to do the breaks in the middle of the show, because it causes a lack in conversation. But make sure you hold that point, because
okay, I got you.
Yeah, man. But yeah, this is a great interview so far. Matter of fact, let me go. I'm gonna switch the y'all stay with us too on our social media too. I'm gonna switch back to the radio station so we'll be ready to start as soon as you come on.
It's 252-364-8121. Meemaw's Liquidation, open Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. and Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Find what you are looking for at Meemaw's Liquidation. Brand new items at liquidated prices. 252-364-8121. Thank you, Meemaw's Liquidation, for your support.
Okay, and we are back here at the U-Turn Show here on WBIS Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM on your radio dial here in Greenville, North Carolina. I am here once again with my special guest, Rico McDowell. We're talking about the traffic violation of his rights. And before the break, you were mentioning something about what we were talking
about. We were talking about Officer Capps. Like I said, we had conversation initially on the scene. I don't know if everyone is aware, but there was a second video that I went live where I had my mental crisis, where I was crying out for help. In that video, I went downtown to the police department seeking that help because I felt like since that was the trigger, that should be the solution for my crisis. I ended up leaving the downtown area and I wound up at the Safeway gas station on William Street.
Okay.
I dialed 911 because I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to harm anyone or myself. I just needed to talk. And when I called 911 and I requested a supervisor, I didn't know that Officer Capps was actually the supervisor on the shift.
Oh, wow.
So he responded back out to me on William Street. And we sat out there and he talked to me for about 30 minutes or so.
Okay. And so this is away from the initial conversation that y'all had live. Okay. All right. So that's what he might have meant today when I asked. So when I talked to him today, I said, okay, well,
you're breaking up again.
Why did y'all do him like that? But then he was like, well, ask Mr. McDowell about me. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess that's what he was.
That's where that stemmed from, because we had a second conversation.
Okay. Okay. So that's and that conversation, I guess, wasn't in the capacity of police officer, for lack of a better word, suspect. It was in relation to person to person, man to man. Yeah. He talked to me man to man, and that's where I gained a lot of respect for Officer Capps. Like I stated initially, Officer Capps, apparently he was on his lunch break, and he was just heading there to get him a sandwich to eat for lunch. He came up on the scene of what Officer Graham was doing. I don't know if they had radio contact prior to what I heard on the radio, because when I'm scanning multiple systems. Okay. So I'm not necessarily locked in on one department, listening to their communications. I'm listening to multiple systems at once. So what it picks up is what I'm hearing at the time. But like I said, I didn't see where he had violated any rights per se for me. The right violation came from Officer Graham. And we had that second conversation on the scene. My parents came out. My brother-in-law came out. My mother had me call on the name of Jesus because I was out of it. Yeah.
And she came out and had me call on the name of Jesus to calm me down.
Yeah.
While Officer Capps was on the scene.
Thank God for the praying mama I was just telling about. And anybody remembers my age, Miss McDowell, second grade here, Miss Fleming.
Right.
So if anybody's my age, came through the carbohydrate system, they know what a wonderful joy his mother, Miss McDowell, is. So I definitely come from good stock. And yeah, man, I guess it's a bad situation when you're dealing with mental health, and we talked about this as well, mental health and policing. When was the first time that you realized that you needed mental health, or you had mental health issues, and you may needed some assistance with that, because that's not something we as Black men normally do?
I think I kind of probably lived in denial initially from my back injury in 1998. My mental health stems from my back injury, from when I broke my back in the United States Army.
Okay.
And the reason being is because with breaking my back, it changed my life completely. I couldn't be as active as I was before being injured. I couldn't deal with my children the way I wanted to. I was working, doing all of this, but it was starting to affect me at work. And then your employer is not going to give you any leeway because they don't see that you're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working through this injury for several years after the military. In 2007, I had my spine fused. I had my L2, L3 vertebrae fused.
Okay, and what does that mean for the labor? Because you told me about, like a couple of rods and a couple of screws, right?
When they go in and do a back fusion, they go in, they cut you open, and they put screws and rods in the area of the damage to immobilize it so that it does not move. So that area between those vertebrae is locked, basically. So that limits my range of motion where I can bend, stoop, stand for long periods of time. A lot of things are affected by that. I have 4 titanium screws and 2 titanium rods in my lumbar region.
Okay. And so that still causes you pain.
It still causes me pain to this day. There was a 50% chance that I would, get better from the fusion, and there was a 50% chance that things got worse. And unfortunately, I fell on the bad side.
Oh, okay. So things have gotten worse. So, so did you start going to therapy or receiving like mental counseling, and how has that been helping you?
Initially I started with therapy with the VA. That seemed to go well. Then they had to switch me to medications.
Okay.
There was a couple of instances in my past where I tried to take my life.
So I never knew that.
Yeah, people are not aware. I can vividly recall one instance. I was on Wayne Memorial Drive on the bridge, and I was planning to jump. Goldsboro Police responded to me because people were calling because I was standing on the side of the bridge on the edge of it.
How long ago?
Getting ready to jump on the Highway 70. And this, like I said, all this catalyst was from my back injury.
Mm-hmm.
I felt worthless. I felt like I could not do. I felt less than.
I understand.
And once I went through that experience, they Goldsboro Police took me to Wayne Memorial Hospital. I didn't get involuntary committed. They released me to my family.
Mm-hmm.
And since that time, I've been receiving therapy off and on through the VA. Now, when I feel like I'm being triggered, I'll contact the VA. I'll set up appointments. I have them adjust my medications. Just like today, I had an appointment with my mental health doctor with the VA. And after this situation, because we have to follow up, we have to get the professional help that we need when we go through a crisis.
Yeah. And as I told you today, like before you started speaking about it, and I think with only in the past year that I started seeing your social media page, you're talking about mental health, depression, pain, and everything like that. I would never knew these things.
Right. This is something that I kept private, but I realized there has to be a conversation had because number one, I'm going through it. Who's better to speak about it than someone who goes through it?
Mm-hmm.
It's me giving you the inside look, because a lot of people on the outside looking in, a lot of people probably saw my life and said, "Oh, he's weak," but I think I did something when I look back at it that was very strong, because you don't see Black men ask for help.
Yeah,
you don't see it.
It's
we
hard.
Come from a generation where you suck it up and you just keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
But that generation, they went through, our previous generation, they went through a lot and suffered in silence, and they didn't have to.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with mental issues, is holding everything in.
Right.
You need
holding everything in, I learned, makes things worse.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make your situation a lot worse. If you can find an outlet, use it, because that outlet can save your life or the life of someone else.
All right. We got another station break real quick, but we're going to be back. Don't go anywhere, Facebook.
Partial funding for this program is brought to you by The Breakfast Bar, Comfort Food, 605 Albemarle Avenue, Greenville, 252-565-8310. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Closed on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, okay. So yeah, we got this break is about another minute and a half. But everybody's commenting. They go Edwards, facts, bro. Speak your truth.
You break it up a little bit on it.
Vulnerability is a superpower. I like that. Doug Brody, your story's helping someone right now. Keep on unpacking. Definitely. That's so
all
true.
Right, bro.
L. Smith Perkins says that's very commendable. My father, Roger Taylor. Thank you for your honesty. God loves that.
Thank you, Pastor Taylor.
Sharice Boyd Jackson Will said an awareness that we need to support and gain insight to. Very strong. It's awesome that you know your triggers.
Right.
Felicia says, I guess you're talking about your mother. She is one of the most sweetest people you can ever meet. Definitely right. She gave me a lot of leeway in second grade when I should have been written up and sit home and got whoopings from my mom and daddy, but she kept my discretions private.
Yes.
Sharice Jackson, boy, awesome radio. I commend you again so much for sharing. I would love to meet you and shake your hand one day, sir. With a military background, often PTSD, often plays a part. I am a mental health professional and support your truths and success. So I'm going to switch right back to the radio microphone so you'll be able to hear me when the show comes back. And we are back on the last segment here on the U-Turn Show here at Awesome Radio 106.9 FM here in Greenville, North Carolina, serving Greenville, Ayden, Winterville, and all of the eastern North Carolina area. So we were talking about the mental health and, you know, the fact that, you know, we as a lot of people as Black men don't reach out for that help. And that's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm glad, as many people are saying, that they're being honest. You're being honest and sharing your vulnerability, as Mr. Edwards says, and as a lot of people also have commented. So what gave you the courage, you know, to be so transparent, man? Because I've been seeing it for a while, and like I said, I never knew. What gave you the courage to go ahead and, you know, start?
I'm an open book already. As you know, when I post on Facebook, everything that I'm learning, I'll post. So pretty much my life is an open book. I just decided that this chapter in my life needs to be read.
Okay.
And seen.
Definitely.
Not to keep it private, because I see where things are going, like in the mainstream media with some of these Black men that are dealing with mental health issues. This is something that I never saw growing up being talked about. And being an open person, I like to learn from people. I like for people to learn from me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wake up to learn something new every day, and I want someone to learn something from me every day.
So from this episode, I know that actually you've been on sort of a I wouldn't say a tirade, but you've been speaking about knowing your constitutional rights. I think actually our brother city councilman Taj Polak asked you to come speak to his students at his school
right.
about knowing your constitutional rights and dealing with police. What would you say to the children, or even just the layman, everyday citizen, about, you know, knowing the rights and dealing with the police from your incident?
You should take the time to look up the Constitution of the United States. I told you before the broadcast that I took an oath to defend the Constitution. So one thing in taking that oath, I decided to learn what those rights entail for me and my family and everyone, so that I know how to conduct myself, you know, constitutionally, especially when I was wearing the uniform, when it comes to the rights of people. And that same thing applies to police. I'm sure that they take some form of oath to protect and serve us and defend the Constitution and our rights. in that protection is the protection of our rights to freely speak, our rights to bear arms, our rights to go freely without being searched unreasonably, without probable cause. And that night, last Thursday, my Fourth Amendment rights were completely violated.
Mm. And what do you plan, to do about it? I know you said you filed a complaint. How do you think, that's going to be handled? And who do
I'm not sure how they're going to handle it internally. I have another meeting set up with the Goldsboro Police Department this Friday at 10 a.m. with one of the investigating sergeants. But I do plan to pursue this legally, just for the simple fact that my rights were violated. I took an oath to defend the Constitution of those same rights. So in taking that oath, I still honor that oath today.
Oh, so
and to defend my right, that's what I'm going to do. I've been in contact with several friends. I'm just waiting to hear back. And if anyone has any information that they can give me in reference to a lawyer, it would be great. All
right. And so what was your perception of police before this incident? Because I know, from your past post of posting, police works, police operations, I almost, thought that you could have been a police officer.
I've been listening to that system longer than most of those police officers been with the department.
Okay.
I have had nothing but the utmost respect for police. So I've had my run-ins with police. To be honest with you, I've had my run-ins, but still I respect the authority that they have.
So did this situation change any of that?
Not necessarily, because I can't let one bad apple spoil the bunch. I don't know what Officer Graham's reasons were for doing what he did, because we never had any dialogue. So, but from where I stand and the violation, I just can't let it be swept up under the rug. But if it happens to me outside of a camera, then what?
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, in 1996, I was stopped coming home from work, Texas State House. I still remember the Officer Mo. If you listen, I still remember that night. You called it back up, but they kept me out. They searched my car. They gave me DWI tests. I was 18 years old, high school student, leaving from Texas State House, and I didn't have a phone. I didn't have, back then, 1996,
right.
Did I even have a beeper? I think I had a beeper, but of course, so that night I would, they triggered me, and I ended up, after being detained for about an hour, them searching my vehicle, them asking me the same questions, them giving me DWI tests. After a while, I just snapped and ran. And when I ran, they caught me, they beat me, they said I assaulted them and all of those things. And I had to deal with that in court. And actually, I had to plead guilty because I didn't know. That was my first time. And you said something that when you were talking to Officer Capps about one day they took, and you're licensed to carry, one day they took your Mac 11 from your vehicle because it was under one of your DoorDash bags or something like that.
Right.
That you were delivery for.
Right. I was doing a delivery on Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. It was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I know the law not to carry, to conceal your weapons. I don't have a concealed carry permit, so I've owned several firearms since being of age, and I've never had any issue. But that day I got to the main gate, they pulled me off to the side, which I found kind of off, but I didn't think anything of it. And before I knew it, I'm surrounded by military police and Goldsboro Police Department. They shut down the main gate. Traffic backed up Berkeley about 5 miles, and this all took the course of an hour or so.
Okay.
It was during the summer. It was hot. I remember it was hot. I was out there sweating. I didn't know what was going on, but they confiscated my weapon because they said that the delivery bag, in my haste, I had just left the Taco Bell on Ash Street. That's where I picked the order up from. In my haste, I just threw the order in the seat where my Mac 11 was sitting. Didn't think anything of it, and proceeded on to the delivery. It wasn't that I was trying to hide it or anything. I just threw the order over there and wasn't thinking.
Because you're licensed to carry. Now, if that was me, I don't have a firearm. I'm a felon, so I'd have had to hide my gun. But there's no reason for you to hire.
There's no reason for me to hide my firearms. I legally purchased all my firearms.
Okay.
And that day they confiscated the weapon. I don't remember the officer's names that was on the scene that day, but they told me that I could get my weapon back. So I'm thinking, okay, this is just a formality because of the situation on the base. Okay. I go to court, and I did plead guilty because I did not know the law at the time. So I'm thinking, okay, they're saying that the bag, which is true, the bag was on top of the weapon. However, the weapon is so large that it's still visibly seen. You can clearly see it. It's that large. And in court, the judge ruled that I was guilty of concealing the weapon, so they destroyed it.
Okay, so you got a legal firearm. Once again, if you were trying to conceal it, then they wouldn't have been able to see it. I mean, so it's
so large. There was no way for me to conceal it.
Yeah. If they are, so when they came to the car, did they ask to search your car for a gun, or did they just look through the window and see the gun? Because if they
could look through the window and see it was sitting in the front seat.
So that means it's not concealed, right?
Right.
So there's that technicality we get in with this legal system. But I heard Officer Cap say, okay, well, next time if you ever accused of something, don't plead guilty. Fight it to the full extent of the law. But that's easier said than done. Like you said,
exactly.
You don't know, and especially us as we're not that familiar. If they're saying it's concealed, the judge says it, the prosecutor's going to say it, so you're against the system. All right, I'll just plead guilty. I'm not going to get no jail time. I'll just get the situation over with. Or you spend extra money because I heard you say you didn't have a lawyer because you didn't think you needed one. Look, it's my gun. It's legal. I wasn't trying to harm anybody. I was going through a DoorDash situation. And, just in my haste, I put the bag up there. I'm not a criminal, I assume. You don't have a bad criminal record if and
exactly.
So there's some leniency that should be set forth there as far as law enforcement or even the court case concerned. They should have never took your weapon. You weren't trying to harm anybody. So that's something that needs to discuss. Like you said, before the break, that a lot of people don't like to discuss those conversations. We're dealing with us as black men and the way we're perceived and the things that we have to go through on a daily basis, dealing with police, and actually it can cause mental health issues.
Right.
I think
I've been stopped several times by police while I have my weapons in my possession, and I've never had an issue with them confiscating the firearm for me in the past. That was the first time that had ever happened to me.
Wow. And that's and like I said, it's funny. Goldsboro is such a small town that everybody knows. I'm pretty sure who everybody is. So if it, I just think sometimes that people are a little overzealous.
Right.
You are overzealous. They are overzealous. Brother Terrence Thornton said, "Proud of y'all both. A couple more brothers making a difference."
Thank you,
and
bro.
I think L. Smith Perkins said, "I will inbox you." I think that's the person with the lawyer in our Passion Graphic said. I'm sure that we have the same person in mind. I think I know the person that they are talking about because we also
I have made contact already.
Huh?
I may have made contact with her already.
Yeah, because we also have this situation, and once again, not to harp on the police, because once again, I know it's not everybody, but we also have this situation with another high school teacher, Mr. Anthony Williams, who was clearly assaulted on tape at a high school basketball game at the same school that he teaches science on and coaches softball at. So we have this sense of aggression, or this as I call it, Gestapo tactics. I know what Gestapo, being a military man, is. That just that aggressive tactic, that aggressive law enforcement, just like that they used that night on you. That's a Gestapo tactic. Okay, I'm gonna hurry up and search this man's car looking for a reason. And real quick, because I definitely wanted to hit this issue on. You told me about the scanning, the things that you hear. sometimes when you're doing scanning, that I asked you, do you ever hear things that put police officers in a bad light while listening to information on the scanner? Could you give me that example that you gave me and give the audience that example?
Yes. For instance, they have technical units. Like the police department has a technical unit, like the SECU unit, selective criminal enforcement units.
Selective criminal enforcement. So that means right there, that means selective. So we select who we going to enforce crime on. Okay, but that's a whole
can be implied.
Huh?
Be implied, but they have technical channels where that they can talk on outside of the dispatch channel. And on those channels, I've heard things where I've heard officers, I don't know if they were joking or if they were serious, but it could raise questions from the average citizen. I've heard them say things to the effect of they want to have a chase, a foot chase, or one of them. One night we heard say that they were full and their leg was hurting and they didn't feel like chasing someone very far, or they wanted to hear get some shots fired calls so they can get hits off the system, the shot spotter system, to deal with that. But there are things that you do hear that they don't think that we hear. They have the system set up where they can encrypt their communications. Sometimes that encryption is on and sometimes it's not.
And so you can hear some things that may put them in a questionable
right.
In because I know that you said okay, and a lot of those are with the once you said selective crime enforcement, but I think the first phrase you used, like with the housing authority.
Housing, right? They have a housing unit, a group of officers who just work the housing areas.
Okay, and the group of officers that work the housing areas, and let's just make it plain, the projects where a lot of black people stay. So they got these officers who are going out there looking for action. I think one said, I hope we get some action tonight.
Right. So, right. And one example I gave you earlier was like when they're looking for probable cause to stop someone, they can be following you for hours and you don't know it. But they're looking for you to have a traffic infraction to give them reason to stop you for whatever they already monitoring you for. It could be as simple as a window tint violation, or you're not completely stopping at a stop sign, going 2 miles over the speed limit. If you go over the speed limit by 1 mile, you're breaking the law.
Exactly. And
that's
I always tell people that when I get speeding tickets, like they say, oh, okay, how if the speed limit is 35, nobody goes 35, everybody's going 40 or 45. At what point does over the speed limit become speeding? So that's up to the discretion of the officer. Right? And so that's what gets me when people say, okay, you shouldn't have been speeding. Or, people speed all the time. It's what the officer decides to do. People go, I'm driving down the highway. The speed limit is 70. Everybody's going 85. We pass a state trooper and nobody gets pulled. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But logically, he has the right to pull everybody. So there is certain discretionary, and that's what I try to point out to people. There are certain discretionary tactics that can be used or neglected. They can show leniency to whom they want to show leniency to, or they can, be harder on those who they want to be harder onto. So there has to be some kind of uniformity in, once again, the prosecution, the targeting or selection, and most importantly, from your conversation is that there needs to be have a conversation. I know one officer, I think you mentioned, no, that might have been another person I was talking to about the situation, but I know, a lot of officers don't like to talk about, the issue of race and policing, or also not even race, the abuse of authority.
Right.
So and this is a public call. I admonish, I seek out any police officer in Goldsboro, any deputy sheriff in Goldsboro who wants to have this conversation with either myself, the community, as or even Mr. McDowell or anyone, if you want to come on this show and answer some questions set forth by the community, reach out to me. You got my Facebook page, because this is something that has to be addressed if we want to rectify the situation. I got about 2 minutes live on the radio, but we're probably going to still keep the conversation going. Is there anything you want to say to our radio listener audience before the show ends, Mr. McDowell?
I tell people all the time, learn your rights, learn your constitutional rights. If you don't know them, sit down and read the Constitution, Google it, put it in the Google search. It'll pull up the Constitution of the United States and read those articles and those amendments. And also, if you are as curious as I am, go buy a police scanner, have it programmed, and then you can monitor police operations yourself.
Okay, and that's a word of advice. And also, real quick, if anybody who hears this on the radio wants to reach out to you concerning some legal assistance to help you provide justice, how can they get in touch with you?
They can reach me directly through Facebook. My name is Rico McDowell. You can just search my name on Facebook and you can inbox me there.
Okay. And once again, I think because I got a lot more that I want to ask you about. So we got about 40 seconds left on our radio show. But I thank you guys for tuning in to this broadcast, all of our radio listening audience. And if anybody hears this, and of any officer who's willing to come and speak about some of the things that we talk to about or address these situations, please let them know that we are open to dialogue, because this is an issue that I've had happen several times. But once again, we thank y'all guys for listening. Make sure you tune in. This has been the U-Turn Show on WBIS 106.9 Awesome Radio. See you next week.
Partial funding for this program is brought to you by The Insurance Gap, filling the gap.
Okay, but we're still live on Facebook. Let me turn the radio down. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So a lot of comments. Dave Weaver said, "Hey brothers." Doug Brody said, "I was told by the judge a paper clip on a rubber band in someone's pocket is a concealed weapon." Yeah, and that's
right.
And that's the issue that I had with the Anthony Williams situation, where he had a pocket knife or something. They saw the clip on it. Of course,
I have a key that goes to my all of my bedroom doors. This key right here.
Okay, if you lock it.
Right, and you can put it in the hole to unlock the door. I went to the courthouse one day. I was going up there to the tax office, and they search you coming in. And when I handed them my keys, they asked me what it was, and I let them know it was my bedroom, the key to my bedroom doors. They considered that a weapon. And actually, the deputy that was up there said it was concealed because I had it in my pocket.
So actually, legally, he could have took you to jail and gave you a charge for that, right?
For keys.
Yeah. And so those are the tactics that need to be kind of relaxed, I would say.
Right.
So how was the complaint do you think was received when you went down there because I know you did a video from the station the next day. How do you think?
I just filed a written complaint that day. But the end of this week on Friday, I will go and give them a verbal statement.
Okay. And you're going to be meeting with members of the
Goldsboro Police Department.
Now, who is the police chief right now?
Tim West.
Oh, Jim West. Is it Tim West or Jim?
Tim West. I think that's his name.
I think I've met with him before. Now, is he originally from here?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I don't think he is. I think I met with him, back a while back when I was, kind of involved with the city politics or trying to be anywhere. But I think it's very important that you get someone to run your police who is from the town,
right.
Because there's something important, I think, about knowing the people who you police. If
Right.
that makes sense. Like a lot of the officers that you mentioned who works with that, selective crime enforcement or the housing authority, they don't live out there. So they don't know people. They don't see them people. They see the people as work, or I got to go out here and deal with these people. They don't see them as people or understand them. So, it's Mike West. He said it's Tim West. Thank you, Ms. Pierce. Right. And does anybody know if he's from the area? Because that's what I think is very important of people, not just coming to this area for jobs, but actually, having a vested interest in the overall well-being of every member in the community. And also the sheriff, the new sheriff, I think his name is Larry Prince, right?
Pierce.
Larry Pierce. Now, is he from here? Do you know? Does anybody know?
I'm not sure if he's from Wayne County or not either.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because I've never heard of him before.
I think Larry Pierce, doesn't he own the Hunter Pork Center?
I'm not sure.
I think he's the owner of that business, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, money is power. So it's just tough, man. The things I've been hearing lately, with dealing with these situations, with similar situation.
And one thing I wanted to speak about, like right now, the radio systems, they have moved to some newer digital systems. So they have the ability to encrypt their communications so that the public can't hear them. Here in Wayne County, the Wayne County Sheriff Department is the department who utilizes encryption the most. We can't hear the dispatcher nor the sheriff deputies when they're communicating back and forth over the radio. Those are police department and other municipality police departments such as Pikeville, Mount Olive, Walnut Creek, Fremont. We can hear those departments, but the Wayne County Sheriff Department you cannot hear.
Okay, and then
you ask yourself why. I mean, at least you would think they would have the dispatch channel open for the public. Say you live in the county and there's a situation going on in your residential area. You could be a help to police if there's something going on and you heard the call on your scanner, and you can just keep an eye out. If you see something suspicious, you can let them know. But without any information, how can the citizen be helpful to law enforcement when they're hiding communications from us?
And so would you say, because once I noticed, like I said, a lot, whether it was a chase, or would you say when using the scanners, would you say you were actively trying to help the police or the public, or both?
Both, to be honest, because when I used to make posts about what was going on in the community, it wasn't to shame people or to hurt the reputation of anyone. I just wanted to inform people of situations that were going on in any given area. So number one, you can probably avoid the area and keep yourself out of trouble. And just let the general public know what was going on around us. We have to right it up. The military taught me to be alert. It says stay alert, stay alive.
Stay alert.
And by being alert, that means knowing your surroundings, knowing what's going on around you. Not just in your immediate area. I mean, the whole city. You need to know what's going on.
And so you mentioned you don't post that much anymore. Why is that? And I've noticed that too.
I stopped posting things such as shootings and like that because number one, I didn't gain any value from it. And then I thought about it. I said those posts bring about a lot of grief to people. I got tired of posting about the death of people. When I would hear these calls come across the scanners, many times over, people will start inboxing me saying, "Who is it? Who is it?" And I've always stressed to people when they're communicating over the radio, they don't use people's names. They don't know who they're going to assist when they have a call. So they use terms such as subject or suspect. So that's all I know. But then when I see the news and I found out that the person shot was someone I knew and was close to, I'm like, oh, wow. It kind of makes you think like, I wish I hadn't posted that about this situation or.
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. But if it's something like major that involves public safety, I might put it up, like a bad accident, letting people know that's bad wreck on 70 is backed up for 3 miles. Y'all probably want to avoid the area. I'll probably do that from time to time. But I'm so busy now that when I'm listening, I'm not really paying attention. But there are times that I just sit there and listen to it.
Yeah. And so I let that thing slip my mind. I had a great question for you. But with the cryptocurrency, how did you get involved with that?
I initially got involved in the stock market in 1995 while I was managing McDonald's on Wentworth Drive. Mr. David Chestnut had advised me when I became an assistant manager to buy some McDonald's stock.
David
and
Chestnut,
at that time, I'm 18 years old. Yes, his dad was a barber, Mr. Chestnut over there in Webtown.
Okay.
And David was my store manager at McDonald's. He's currently a store manager at Bojangles on Wentworth Drive now. But he told me to buy some McDonald's stock. I'm 18 years old. I don't know anything about stocks. I didn't think that. I just did it because I was getting promoted to assistant manager at the time. I was excited about that. I don't know if you guys remember the Calvin commercials that McDonald's used to have. I was the Calvin in Goldsboro. So I bought the stock. I probably spent $20 or $30 on some McDonald's stock, and I forgot about it. I didn't understand what it was or what it did or anything. So around the year 2001, this was after I left the military, McDonald's would keep sending me these statements about the stock. And, in the previous years, I would always get the statement in the middle and just throw it in the trash. I wouldn't even open it. And one day I decided to open the envelope to see what was in it. So, and I know when I looked at the net value at that time, I think it was around $4,000 or something. But I knew I had not put $4,000 into that stock.
Mm-hmm.
So it piqued my interest. I said, well, where did the rest of the money come from? So that's when I jumped in and really started diving into the markets and learning the markets. Now, when I got into cryptocurrency, it was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I saw, while dealing with the stock market, when people started talking about crypto, I saw the returns people were getting, and they were getting them pretty fast at that time. That's when the market was pretty bullish. And I said, well, I want a part of this. I need to get in on this because the stocks are sitting here stagnant. The price stays around the same price. I'm not getting no return. I probably get a little dividend, a couple change here, pennies there. But when I saw that crypto and I learned about Bitcoin, I was all in.
Okay.
I was all in.
All right. So how do you, because a lot of people are still dragging their feet, or some people are kind of old school and they don't want to try. How do you try to break that mentality of getting people to think outside the box? Because I see you screaming with the bullhorn, every day on Facebook.
Right.
But a lot of people are still closed-minded to it.
Right. Well, let me say first, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. When you get into any type of investment, you're taking a risk. It just so happened that let me give you an example. The stock market is pretty stable. If you buy some Amazon stock, some Apple stock, some McDonald's stock, you can pretty much be rest assured that whatever you put in, if you put $3 in there, it's going to remain around $3.
Mm-hmm.
But with cryptocurrency, it can go way up high, it can drop way down low, and go everywhere in between in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So the market in the crypto space is volatile, but you got to have patience. A lot of the currencies that I'm invested in are long-term investments.
Okay.
So it's pretty much like what I did with the McDonald's stock. I bought some and I'm gonna forget about it. And then I'm gonna come back in 5 years and look at it and see what happened.
Yeah, because it's funny, man. My man called me the other day about the Jasmine crypto, right? So he's like, man, you put because when I first started, I used to watch him every day too. Like, oh man, I'm about to get my money. I done made $2,000 in 2 weeks. So right. That's the kind of mindset I have anyway. Like, the dollars. But I bought some, and I made like $400 in 2 days just off,
right.
The same amount of return. I put 400 in, I look, it's 800 already,
right. So I tell people when you invest, at least take out your initial investment, so you'll never take a loss. But whatever profit you're in, that's you, that's yours.
Profit. That's all profit right there. Yeah.
It's legal.
Yeah.
It's a gamble, but it's legal.
Yeah, and then sometimes the next day I looked, it was down to 600 again. I was like,
Right.
you know what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
the risk that we take. But I tell people, do your due diligence. You have to research. I tell people who are entering the cryptocurrency space, when I'm talking to them, I say, don't believe what I tell you. Go and research what I tell you. And then look for projects that interest you, that have a real world use case that can affect the masses that you can see coming. For instance, we got the metaverse. You got the Oculus 2 goggle devices everybody's buying now. People don't even realize that that's in the cryptocurrency space. The things that you're going to do in that metaverse, you're going to need cryptocurrency to make transactions.
Okay.
You can't use your fiat money to spend in the metaverse in the Oculus. You're going to need crypto.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can take that crypto and turn it into cash.
Okay. So the Oculus is pretty much going to be like you said, a metaverse, just a world in your mind, basically.
In your mind, right? Okay. Augmented reality, virtual reality, and a lot of people are going to go to that. It's right. They put these products in our face, and we don't realize what we're doing with them.
Yeah.
What the underlying technology is for these products, and they slowly roll things out for us to get people into it, and then one day it's going to be a massive boom for this stuff. And those who are positioning themselves in the cryptocurrency space on the floor are those who will be the ones who reap the benefits.
Okay.
It's just like investing into Amazon in the year 2000 when Jeff Bezos was working out of his garage. People didn't believe that he can come in and turn consumer attention from Walmart and the box stores to an online service. And he did just that.
Yeah, because everybody shop on Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And getting in the crypto space now is just like getting into Amazon back then.
Okay.
Because you're still early. It's a young space to be in.
Yeah. And somebody told me it was like it's about to be a transfer of wealth. So if you get
it's a transfer of wealth. And I invest in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a store of value. Everything in the cryptocurrency market follows behind Bitcoin. Now there are thousands of other tokens out there, but many of them are really worthless, and there are some that has true value. It's up to the individual to research these tokens, and before they invest, you can invest as little or as much as you want. I've gotten to the point now where I'm not using my money to invest. I'm using cryptocurrency to reinvest.
Okay. Switching one crypto from another.
Right. And I use like apps on my phone to get free crypto that I can convert to whatever crypto I'm trying to get to do what I want to do. Instead of having to go into my bank account and depleting my actual funds that I need on a day-to-day, I use just some crypto that I earned off of like the crypto tab browser. I earn Bitcoin on that, so I can send that to my wallet and convert it to whatever crypto I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only thing it costs me is my time. That's it.
Yeah.
But then I in turn get money back for that time.
Yeah, because I remember when I first got into it, I think I called you. I called you. You gave me some, good advice. And once again, like I said, I'm a researcher too. So I'm gonna take what you say and do the research myself and see if it adds up. So
one thing I did learn is I try to find new projects that are vetted and that the development team is out front, people that we can see, because people who do that have in their real life, they're probably doing some major jobs, doctors, lawyers, pilots, and things like that. When they put themselves in the forefront of their projects, that lets me know that they stand a lot to lose, and they're not going to do anything illegal with the money that's coming into their project. They want, like, if you heard the term rug pull, people will see this new token, they'll invest their money, and the developers will get all this money flushed into the project. Then they turn off the sell button where you can't sell it, and then they snatch all the money and gone.
Oh wow! So that has happened.
That happens a lot in this space. You have to be vigilant. You got to know what you're investing in. That's why I tell people to research.
So they said turn off the sell button. So now you stuck with all of this, whatever currency it is,
It has happened many times. It has happened many times. I've seen it on YouTube where people, they will have a launch of a token and you can see the green candle just going up and up and up. But then when it gets to the top and whoever's in control of it, they decide, well, this is enough money. This is what I want. They can pull the plug and get out of there. But when you got people who put their faces out there, you can see who they are. You know where they are. You know what they do for a living. You can put your trust in a project like that and to know that they're not going to go anywhere because they stand a lot to lose.
Definitely. And the question I had a while ago came back to my mind. We were talking about mental health. I think your wife actually made a post one day talking about, how she knew what she was. Oh, she listening. Yeah, I see you look over there.
Yeah, she over here. She's in class, but she's listening.
Okay, so no, it's not bad, but yeah, I seen that, and I don't can't recall it word for word, but I think it was her supporting you,
right?
In your mental or physical situation. How important is that to have a wife who understands, what you're going to?
I can say this. Through my darkest times and my worst times, she never turned her back on me. And that was important because if I didn't have that support, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
She comes with me to every appointment, to every doctor's appointment that I have. Everything that I've been through, she's been right there. She was there for my back surgery. I had to relearn how to walk, and she was there. She helped me relearn how to walk.
Wow.
Yes, a lot of people don't know that. When you have a back surgery, they start moving nerves around and things start working like they used to, and you got to relearn how to do things.
Wow.
She's been there from day one. A lot of people, especially people her age, we have a 6-year age difference.
Okay.
And I truly believe a lot of people her age, as young as she is, wouldn't want to deal with somebody that has these issues.
Mm-hmm.
But she stuck with me, and that meant a lot.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for your help, because you're definitely, like I said, a great person. I think I'm going to go back and read this comment. I think, Felicia Mitchell said, God bless you, sir. This is in his abundance. You are worthy. You are valuable. And most of all, you're a strong man of God with a purpose. I think, and that was when, I think you was speaking about, at the point of, thinking about, taking your life, which once again, a lot of people are not willing to admit, but of course.
I've done it. Yes, I have. And that's just something. And that's another thing. Suicidal thoughts. You can be taken into anything can trigger someone dealing with mental illness and put them in that place. Mm-hmm. And I've been in that place. I've been there several times. That one example I gave you, when I went to the hospital, actually, I came in contact with one of my classmates that was working at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And in my crisis, I didn't know. I wasn't thinking that I'm going to actually come in contact with somebody that actually knows me while I'm in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a major help to me at that time.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, because so it wasn't judgmental. It wasn't what's wrong with you.
As a matter of fact, it was Christy Whitfield.
Oh,
my classmate.
Yeah. Good people.
I think she was in phlebotomy or something. And she touched bases with me. She made sure I was good after the fact. Everything. Yeah. It's just amazing to have a support system of people. Because, like I said, without that support.
And all the people that you mentioned, I know that you mentioned that came out that night. They said your mom and dad, and they said your brother-in-law, that Mr. Lance.
Right, Lance.
Yeah, Mr. Lance, good people. So you definitely got some good people on your side. How did your mother and father deal with it at first? When you, I guess, came to grips.
As you know, my mom was one of the most calmest people on earth. Let me tell you, when she got to the scene, she didn't seem upset because she'd seen me in this space before. But her immediate thing was to pray. Coming out of that tabernacle, that's what she's going to do.
Yeah.
She's going to pray.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's good, man. To have a praying mother, and just to come up in that foundation where
Right.
you know who to call on and what to do, man. So I'm glad you made it out. You know,
And it was when she did that, the calming that came over me, there was a peace that did come over me.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to let people know that she came to me. I was sitting on the back of my van with the police officer, Officer Caps. And she just simply walked up and she placed her hand on my forehead. She said, "Son, say Jesus." And she had me repeat it, just the word Jesus, the name of Jesus, over and over. And the more I repeated it, the calmer I got.
Yeah. And I'm a testament to that.
Right.
You know, that when you are going through those trying times, sometimes that's all you got to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the blood of Jesus, or
the blood of Jesus. That's right.
You know, just call the Lord. You know, Lord, is something real simple that can cause, you know, to know that, okay, well, everything is all right.
Right.
You know, everything is going to be all right in this situation.
Right.
So, man, that's awesome, man. It's so important. So, man, I think we pretty much covered everything, unless there's anything else you want to.
No, we covered all the topics, everything. Like I said, everybody, I implore you to learn your rights, and even in anger and dealing with the police, take a step back, like I did, because if you keep pushing the envelope, they're looking for reason to make whatever it is they're doing right, but don't give them the ammunition to make it right. I had to take a step back, because if I had continued with my anger in that time, I think I would have turned the situation against me.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to learn how to take a step back, because just like Officer Cap said to me, anytime you see the police, it's not for a good reason.
and that shouldn't be so, though. That shouldn't be so, because I remember as a kid, you know, well,
you're right. You're right. And it should be that sometimes we can see
good
the police and it's for a positive reason.
Yeah, you know, like
we need to change that stigma.
Yeah, because like, you know, as a youth, it seemed like a police officer was a great thing to be, and everybody loves the police. Oh, there's Officer Joe, you know, in the little books you read, you know, the police was all laughing and joking and playing with the kid. There's Officer such and such. He's, you know, he's a good person. But now it's almost switched, like, man, the police behind me. Oh Lord, you know what I mean? And I haven't even done nothing, but just because
don't know.
You know what I'm saying? The police, like, you know, the officer said, anytime you see the police, it's not for a good reason, and it shouldn't be that way.
Not for a good reason.
Yeah. So, but I definitely commend you on that, though, because I said I saw you right. Was it before or after? I think it was right after he didn't want to talk about the race. I think you apologized. That's when you apologized to him. You said you know you apologized for the way I acted, you know, and you commended him for being calm in the face of, you know, your anger, you know. But once again, people know, you know, and that's another thing. Like, police officers must be trained to know how to deal with somebody, or even recognize somebody who's in a mental health crisis. I think a lady who I work with, she wrote a book called Simply De-Escalate, which I helped her publish. But she talks about, you know, simply de-escalating the situation, staying calm in the face of a person who's having a mental health crisis. In that situation for you, not because of anything you did, but, you know, because of the, you know, the police and his overzealousness caused you to go into a mental health crisis.
Exactly.
You know, they weren't called to the scene because you were having a mental health crisis. Their presence caused you to have a mental health crisis. So, that's something that needs to be, once again, addressed. Whereas, you know, we have officers who understand, and I, you know, once again, I have to commend Officer Caps. Maybe he did understand. All right, this is you know, this guy's just irate right now, so I'm going to remain calm and, you know, try to.
He was a great example of a officer using de-escalation tactics. I would think. Okay,
so if anybody want to go see that, and if anybody wants to, you know, learn how to de-escalate that, that was because he never, you know, he never challenged. He never matched your energy. What I say,
he never did. Right,
because had he did, it could have been went a whole nother way.
It would have went even further.
Yeah. You never
Right.
match your energy. So, but I commend you, man, for being vigilant in your quest for justice, but also your quest to defend the Constitution.
Right.
And this is defending the Constitution
Yes,
by
it is.
protecting those rights. And I like the way you put that.
Exactly.
I took an oath to protect the Constitution, and this officer's behavior is violating what I took an oath to protect. So
that's exactly right.
We definitely need more people like you who are willing to, stand up for those morals and values that this country is supposed to be predicated upon.
Right.
So I definitely thank you, for just your testimony, your story. And is there anything else that you want to share with our?
No, that's pretty much it, bro. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Yeah, man. I thank you, man, for taking the time out. And like I said, I'm gonna be in contact with you because I think there's some other people who want to hear your story and know what goes on in this city at times. So I'm gonna definitely be reaching back out to you, man. And I think I gave you the date, so just let me know if you can make that date, and we'll set it up from there. But I think every one of y'all who are listening, who have been listening, Felicia Mitchell, my boy TV 95, we stick together, Terrence Vaughn, we family love you much, bro. Thank you, Alicia Britt Pierce and LaShonda Perkins for watching. Dave Weaver, thank you for checking in. My brother Doug Brody, 95, class of 95. L. Smith Perkins again. Thank you, Christy McMillan. She thank you for speaking out again for mental health. T. Thorne, my brother Tago Edwards.
Appreciate you guys.
Roger Taylor, Sharice, just so many people, man. I don't want to miss a name. So, but I'm gonna let my brother go. 'Cause I know he always on the go. He always got something.
I gotta get my kids ready for school tomorrow. Get my kids ready for school tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I mean, once again, I certainly thank you, man, and just keep in touch with me. Any way I can help you, by any means, man, feel free to reach out to me. But
I sure will. I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show, man. And we're gonna keep up with the information. And like I said, if anything you need me to get out there, I will, bro.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for listening, man. We out of here.
All right. Good night.